Hello and welcome. So let's talk about what happens when one of the world's oldest institutions collides with our newest technologies. I'm talking about the church and its huge, sudden leap into the digital world. It's a fascinating story, really, about crisis, about opportunity, and about completely rethinking what it even means to be a community of faith in this day and age. To get a sense of just how big this is, let me throw a number at you: 584 million. That's how many Pentecostal and charismatic Christians there are in the world. We're talking about a global community, a population bigger than all of South America, that suddenly found itself trying to figure out this brand new digital frontier, pretty much all at the same time. And the catalyst for all of this? Well, you know what it was: the COVID-19 pandemic. As this person from a study in South Africa put it so perfectly, it was a moment that basically forced everyone's hand. Lockdowns didn't just suggest going online, they demanded it. All of a sudden, having a gadget and data went from being a nice-to-have to a fundamental need, just to stay connected. So, in this explainer, here's how we're going to break down this whole journey. First, we'll look at that initial push online. Then, we'll explore the incredible new possibilities that opened up. After that, we've got to talk about the serious dangers of this new digital pulpit. And finally, we'll see how churches are trying to find their footing in this new normal. Okay, let's start at the beginning. That digital call to worship. What were the forces that really pushed religious services out of physical buildings and onto our tablets and phones? You see, while the lockdown was the immediate trigger, it really just poured gasoline on a fire that was already smoldering. For years, many churches were already struggling to connect with people who were busier, more mobile, and already living a big chunk of their lives online. The need was there long before the pandemic made it impossible to ignore. And you can see this playing out all over the world. In the Philippines, for example, studies showed that work schedules were already making it hard for people to attend services, creating a real need for materials you could access anytime, anywhere. Then boom, the pandemic hits the US, and we see this absolutely massive pivot. A staggering 82% of congregations started streaming services. It showed just how adaptable they could be when they had to be. But here's where it gets really interesting. This whole forced experiment did more than just keep communities afloat. It actually uncovered the incredible promise of what you could call a borderless congregation. It turned a crisis into a moment of, well, unprecedented reach and innovation. Take Indonesia, for example. Individual priests, even groups led by regular church members, suddenly found they could build huge followings online. One priest started a YouTube channel just for Bible study, and it blew up, attracting over 223,000 followers. I mean, that's an audience that most official church organizations could only dream of reaching. And the benefits just became clearer and clearer. Suddenly, geography didn't matter anymore. Churches were reaching global audiences, finding new ways to connect with younger generations who live online, and even making things like giving and donations easier with e-giving. It was a whole new playbook. And you know, this wasn't just about reaching more people. It actually changed the game for the clergy themselves. As this pastor from Nigeria pointed out, using social media actually reduced his stress. It gave him a more flexible, less frantic way to do his job, to schedule meetings, and to follow up with people in his community. But of course, it's never that simple, is it? This new digital world is a classic double-edged sword. And for all that promise, for all that potential for good, came some really significant and sometimes pretty scary dangers. I mean, think about it. The same platforms that you can use to spread a positive message can also spread incredibly destructive misinformation. The tools that build community can also, foster addiction and deep division. And the very tech that connects the world can also leave behind anyone who doesn't have access. And this isn't just a theoretical problem. It has real-world, dangerous consequences. For instance, in Nigeria, a hugely influential pastor told his massive following that the virus was just a conspiracy to install 5G networks, which he actually called the Antichrist. It's just a chilling reminder of how fast misinformation can spread when it comes from a voice that people trust. And here's another thing. You'd think all this tech might flatten out old power structures, right? But some research shows it often did the exact opposite. As one Italian priest pointed out, The shift online actually made rigid top-down structures even stronger. The people in charge stayed in charge, and the new tools just became a new way to reinforce that. Now, on a lighter note, I suppose, the dangers weren't all so grand and existential. Sometimes the tech itself just caused chaos. Researchers in Nigeria actually documented how a simple typo, a pastor accidentally typing wife when he meant Wi-Fi in a group chat, could spiral into a major misunderstanding and real conflict within the community. It's funny, but it's also telling. So, faced with all this incredible promise on one hand and these very real perils on the other, what's the plan? How do you actually build a healthy, effective ministry in this completely new hybrid world? Well, the one strategy that pretty much all the global research points to is the urgent need for something called media and information literacy, or MIL. And according to UNESCO, it's not just about knowing how to post something online. It's the whole skill set. Being able to find information, analyze it critically, evaluate if it's true, and then create and share things responsibly. So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, it boils down to a really clear 4-step game plan. First, you've got to train your people, the clergy, the media teams. Second, you have to educate the entire congregation on how to use these tools responsibly. Third, create clear official rules for how to behave online. And fourth, you have to invest in the basics, like reliable Wi-Fi, to make any of it happen. And check this out. This isn't just an idea coming from leaders or researchers. The demand is coming straight from the pews. A study in Kenya asked congregants what they thought was most important, and look at the results. A whopping 85% said training the church's tech personnel was the top priority, and right behind that, educating the members. It shows you that people on the ground get it. They know the most important thing isn't new gadgets, it's the human skills to navigate this world safely. And in the end, this whole journey of the digital church is really a case study for all of us, whether you're religious or not. It's a story about how we adapt, how we build community, and how we search for meaning when the world is changing so fast. And it leaves us with this big, important question to chew on. As technology redefines something as basic as community, how do we lean into all the amazing things the future holds without losing the very stuff that makes us human?